welcome back. This is Michelle from Michelle's Empty Nest, and today I am going to work on two more stories in my December Daily 2021 album. I'm actually skipping one story because we ended up having to postpone it, reschedule it, because I was not feeling well. I have vertigo that comes on pretty strong. I've actually been hospitalized for it in the past. And so that kept us from being able to go do an event that I had planned, but luckily it is something that we can still do until a couple of days into January. So we've rescheduled that. So that means I'm skipping story F and we'll be doing stories G and H today. So I'm going to go ahead and get you put on fast forward and get these stories done. So let's do it. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you just that quick sneak peek there of letter F, which I will come back to at the end of the video as well. And we're going to start on story G for gingerbread houses. So we started a new tradition last year of my husband and I decorating gingerbread houses. I was trying my best to run that chipboard through my Xyron machine, but it was just too big. So I have picked these nested star chipboard shapes to be my embellishments here, and I left the center star on this journaling page blank so that I could put the star in there. And I was using my Barely Arts Precision Glue right there again. It is my new favorite. I never have really liked the Tombow. I really liked my Scotch Tacky Quick Dry, but so many people that I watch kept recommending this particular glue, this Barely Arts Precision Glue, and so I thought I would give it a shot. And I am loving it. I love how well it holds. I love that it's not as sticky, gooey on my fingers. I just like everything about it. So I glued those down, and I kind of centered the two hearts there on this side with the gingerbread houses on it. I kind of centered the hearts between the houses on the tree and not necessarily on the page. I thought that might look a little better, even though it's kind of off balance. So that's what I went with, and I just used acrylic blocks to put on them and kind of hold them down for an extra few seconds before I put them into my album. So this is the candy cane paper from this year's kit. And I put a couple of coats of white gesso over it. I wanted to stamp on a clearer background than the candy canes. And I also wanted it to kind of have a little rough texture to it. So I did not worry about trying to do a smooth gesso or smooth coats, just two light, quick, thick coats with one of my tools that I use with gesso that makes things look a little rougher. And then that's the Awesome Alpha, I think is what that's called, from Allie's shop. Just a fun, bold, chunky font. And this is my scrapbook.com premium dye ink in black. That one and my Close to My Heart ink in black are the two that I reach for. This one mostly if I want a nice, clear, clean, crisp, like really bold image. Otherwise, I reach for my Distress Oxide in Black Soot. Even though I'm going for a distress look here, I didn't want the distress of the gesso to be topped with the more distressed coverage of the Black Soot, if that makes sense. I didn't want to do double duty. So I still went with my scrapbook.com ink, and I'm glad that I did for this particular application. But I do love those streaks and little strokes that you can see in my stamping there. So I just did hot cocoa in my cup, and you saw me write it out on a paper and then mark off from front to back to find the center of my word so that I could then find the center of the paper and try to get it as fairly close as I can. Now, as I've mentioned before, if you don't like to use a lot of adhesive, look away. I used more here than normal because my paper with the gesso on it is a little warped, and so I wanted to make sure it stayed really nice and snug up against that other paper. And then I do a lot of thinking fingers because I really struggled to figure out what I wanted to do for embellishments on this page. I knew I wanted at least one thing over on the stamping side, and then I thought I wanted something circular on that transparency. If you can see, the black lines are blank in the middle, so they form a little circle around my cup. And so I thought I wanted a circle or a heart there. I just couldn't find something that was the right color or sentiment or size or whatever. But I did end up settling on this Simple Lovely Moments heart speech bubble. And then also that Good Tidings of Comfort and Joy under my stamping. And both of those were like the right shades of white and red. There was some red that was more burgundy, a deeper red in my stash, and that just wasn't quite going to work with my photo and my candy cane paper. I even tried some puffy stickers, and I tried lots of things. I even cut out some of this to keep you from having to suffer through me fiddling through so many different things here trying to come up with something. So I end up finding a long, skinny rectangle acetate tag. And I think it said, oh, here it is right there, Sweet Treats. That was going to be the winner. So I go and grab my red and white twine. I was going to put that through the hole in the tag and then run it through, well, first I was going to run it through my Xyron machine. I'm trying to find if there's any plastic film on the back. It felt like there was, but it just wasn't coming off. It didn't matter in the long run because I messed it up. So as I go to run it through my Xyron machine, I put it in upside down, so the sticky ends up on the wrong side. So here I am realizing that. And I almost needed a minute to go sit in the corner and cry because that was going to be the perfect little embellishment. So I reached into another little container and I found these two candy canes, right shades of red and white. One of them is actually an acetate candy cane. I thought there was a film on it too, but I just could not find it. I was very careful putting my stuff into my Xyron machine this time. And I'm putting the cardstock white and red candy cane first, and then the clear acetate red stripe over it, just to give that acetate a little bit of something else to pop off of there. And I may have ended up actually liking these better than the original little tag that I was going for. So sometimes, you know, we just need to learn to let the mistakes in air quotes go and just, you know, keep on moving. So I decided to use score tape to put down this chipboard. These had no adhesive on the back of them either. And so especially on this side with the gesso, I wanted something that I thought would be a little bit stronger hold. And I'm going to use the same score tape on my heart. And I just could not figure out how I was going to get it onto the acetate or the transparency without seeing adhesive. So I do end up putting it onto the picture, and I'm okay with that. I really wanted it on the front, but you know, in the end, it's okay. The story's told. It's done and dusted. I realized I didn't have holes here, so I had to punch those in, and that's going to finish me up. Okay, y'all, that's where I'm going to call this one done. I'll quickly show you what I have put together for letter F, my story for F. It is about fantasy and lights, and it is at a place called Callaway Gardens here in Georgia. It's won a couple of awards, things like top 10 light displays in America, that kind of thing. We used to go every year when our boys were young. We have not been in years, and this year just my husband and I are going. As you know, by my name, we are empty nesters, and so we just thought it would be a fun thing to try and do by ourselves. And you can either ride through in your car or on a little trolley, and there's a couple of stops along the way, a little shop and things like that. So but I was unable to go, so we're having to reschedule. And this page may end up holding like a larger size photo. What would that be? Maybe 5 by 7-ish or something, that has to do with fantasy and lights. And then this was created by Shuwen from Shoe Puff Creations in her product play lesson using the Star Kit packaging, like a little matchbook type thing. with an accordion fold. It was just a wonderful tutorial that she did to walk you through this. So if you have not purchased that class and are interested in some of these things that were taught in the classes, I would highly encourage you to still go and do that. I did put a few things in here that I may end up using for this one, so that's why those are in here. So there will be photos and ephemera in there. And then this one I did not cover because I may end up doing another full-size photo from this night, maybe of us, or if there's just like this, one light display photo that I really want to just have be on kind of, the focus, then I may put that there. If not, it'll just be a pattern paper with something on it. Maybe I'll stamp something else or foil something from my Mink. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what that's going to be after Fantasy and Lights is done. So then we get to today, and this page was super simple because the work had been done in Photoshop. So this is Story G for Gingerbread Houses. And the only embellishments that I added were this little layering star chipboard set, or nesting is the word. And I chose the blue because there's a little blue over here, and I just felt like with the blues that were in the our candy and this blue star here, that it was kind of a good thing to pull that over a little bit more. And then this was from Allie. This was on the blog for the post on the day that she did a story about, I think, her girls making gingerbread houses with a friend. And so I just took it, the digital download, it was a stamp, put it into my Photoshop, and just made it big and turned it white so it would show up well on the photo. And I did this photo in portrait so that I'd kind of get that bokeh effect in the background. And I told my husband, it's interesting, when I don't have my glasses on, which is usually most of the time around the house, this is kind of what the tree looks like all the time to me anyway. So it's kind of always bokeh in my world if I don't have my glasses on. And then I just did, let's see, that would be 8 things about that night. And first, I'm going to tell you, I wrote this out by hand before you ever saw anything on camera. I was going to go ahead and write it out. And I just did not like it. It was just not even, I don't hate my handwriting, but I don't know. I expanded some of the text. I made my sentences longer to fill in kind of the same amount of space. And I did not do that, but yet I had centered them in the star, and I don't know, it just didn't look right when I was doing it by hand. So I went and picked up the digital kit for this. I think it was like less than $5 for the papers. And then just made text boxes into the stars in Photoshop. So I said this was our 2nd annual Lundy Gingerbread House Competition. Olin and I had a blast decorating our houses. He used half of my candy. There were a ton of laughs, and I know Olin really enjoys this new tradition more than he lets on. He really gets into it. My icing bag busted this year again. I need to practice or take a class or something. I struggled with the icing bags. And this was even a different kind. I told Olin when we opened them up, there's no way this bag is going to bust. It was like a plastic top on it, but no, I still busted it. Decorating our gingerbread houses was an awesome way to spend time together. Last year, Olin won hands down. His gingerbread house put mine to shame. This year, we called it a tie. No question about it. I felt so much better about mine. There will definitely be a 3rd annual Lundy Gingerbread House Competition. So in the photo, this is mine and this is Olin's. And so he took all my candy, so I don't have any candy on my roof, but that's okay. I let him have it. I let him have a lot of these that were shaped like Christmas bulbs, and it is what it is. So we had a great time. And then this one I thought was going to be much simpler until I had to go through all of my stash to figure out what I was going to do for embellishments. So I took the candy cane paper because I have this mug that kind of has that candy cane handle to it. And I put white gesso just roughly because I wanted to be able to see some of the streaks in the stamp. I kind of like that look. And so just a couple of really light coats of white gesso, and I let that dry before I turned on the camera, and stamped out hot cocoa in my cup. And then good tidings of comfort and joy. I really hate that I messed up that little clear acrylic tag. I was going to put some twine through it, but I stuck it in upside down in my Xyron. I have never done that before, but I surely did it today. So I went with these two candy canes. One is cardstock and one is acetate, but I think they both show up well enough. So here's my H for hot cocoa. I really wanted something here on the transparency, and I may still end up before the month is over trying to find something else to put there. I just like picking up a transparency and something moving to reveal more of the photo, but there just wasn't going to be a good way to get this chipboard piece onto the transparency without seeing a lot of the adhesive, and I didn't want to do that. So I did move it inside to the photo, and that's okay. And this transparency, I honestly don't remember if it was from this kit, last year's kit, a One Little Word kit. I don't know. I pulled it out sometime back in November when I was getting things together, but I kind of have a feeling that it maybe was from last year's kit. I can't swear to that though. And just because of the proportions of my photo and wanting to get the mug as, kind of as big as I could and centered inside the part of the transparency that's completely clear, I did trim it and my photo down a little bit. So they're no longer the almost 7 by 8.25. They're a little smaller, and I have no problem with that. And I may end up coming back and putting a tab on either the transparency or the photo. Maybe the transparency before the month is over. A lot of times when I'm going through these albums, I kind of go back when I'm getting near the end, and I'll look back through and just see, if there's something else I want to add. I kind of like to percolate on it a little bit and see if there's something I want to do to it. Put some more embellishments, do some more stamping or whatever, add the tabs, that kind of thing. Sometimes I'm just not ready to commit right away. And so that's the case with this one. I'm not sure which one I want to put it on. So friends, that is where we are going to end for today. Oh, I did put in the first week of photos in my little calendar. And I'll pull it out and let you kind of have a closer look. And there'll also be closer photos at the end of the month here and on Instagram. So I did get started on that. So I appreciate you stopping by today. It means more to me than you will ever know. If you enjoyed the video, I would love a thumbs up down below, as well as a subscribe. If you haven't already done that, I'd love to have you as part of my little YouTube family. So follow me also over on Instagram. I post lots more things over there that never make it to YouTube, and I'd love to have you there as well. So until I see you again, take care of yourself, do something good for yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.